From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on News Channel 5 Plus. Phone lines open 737-7767 if you want to get in on the conversation. And man, are there a lot of cool things to talk about right now in Nashville sports. We're going to focus mainly on the Titans, of course, who wrapped up the #1 seed in the AFC on Sunday by beating the Texans 28-25. They've got home field advantage, and they've got a first-round bye in the playoffs as well by virtue of that. But you also have the Predators on top of the Western Conference in the NHL right now, winners of 11 of their last 13. And tonight, big measuring stick at home against the Colorado Avalanche, a team that is predicted to be the best team in the Western Conference. Still, as of today, the odds-on money favorite to win the Stanley Cup. So a nice measuring stick. And through a period, it's 2-0 Preds. Nashville jumped all over them tonight, and they are very much looking like the part of a contender right now. And I don't think anybody saw that coming. The Titans have played well, and I think people thought that that could be the case this year. Maybe not this well, maybe not #1 seed well, but people expected this to be a good season for the Titans. There were a lot of people that thought this was the year that the Predators would miss the playoffs. And look, the Central Division's really good. We'll have to see. But nobody saw them on top of the division here in January or beating up on the Avalanche tonight. And they've put themselves in that position. So kudos to John Hines and the Predators. And obviously congrats to the Titans on what they've done, though there's much more work to be done. This team has the second longest year-to-year winning streak in the league. Only the Chiefs, third longest. Only the Chiefs and the Packers have had longer winning streaks than the Titans in terms of consecutive seasons of wins. The Titans have now done it 6 consecutive seasons. You have to go back to the Oilers to do that within this franchise. And back-to-back division titles. But what it's all about now for this team is what they haven't been able to accomplish before, and that is getting back to the Super Bowl and winning it for the first time. That's what it's all about for this Titans team. And they've put themselves in a position now where they've got the best path. And when you look over the years, about 50% of the 1 seeds since they've gone to the expanded format in the playoffs in the NFL back in 1990, about 50% of the 1 seeds make it to the Super Bowl. A huge number of the 1 and 2 seeds in the old format that had a bye make it to the Super Bowl. Last year, one of the 2 1 seeds that had the only byes in the playoffs made it to the Super Bowl. So you want to be in that position. It makes you the odds-on favorite. You have to play 1 less game. Mike Vrabel said it perfectly after the game on Sunday, that by winning that game in the regular season finale and getting the 1 seed, the Titans, in essence, already won a playoff game. By having the bye, they've already advanced. They're through wild card weekend, and they're into the divisional round. So that's where the Titans are already, into the Elite 8 of the playoffs, just by winning that game Sunday. It was a little bit hairy late. Texans threw everything at them in the second half, and they didn't really have an answer for Danny Amendola. But the Titans did just enough offensively to figure out how to win that game. And they got it done. And that is a huge, huge thing for this team to have this break. Because remember, this is the team that used more players than any team in the history of the NFL. 91 guys suited up and played in games for the Titans this year. They had stars out for significant stretches. Derrick Henry missed more than half the season. A.J. Jones missed 4 games. Julio Jones missed 7 games. You had guys on defense that were out. You had guys on the offensive line battling injuries. You were down on the depth chart at running back. You were down on the depth chart at wide receiver. And the Titans kept finding ways to win. Now, that's a pitch right there for Mike Vrabel to be Coach of the Year. But it also tells you the situation this team has been in all year and how valuable the bye week can be. I think the bye week is always valuable, but for some people, you're getting hot, you're late in the season, sometimes you just want to keep playing. You don't want to have to go into a game where you're playing for the first time and someone else feels hot from last week. I think the Titans kind of did that to the Ravens a couple of years ago. The Titans got hot in New England, played confident and loose in Baltimore, and the Ravens were down and out kind of before they even knew the game had started. That can happen. But I think when you have the injury situation that the Titans have, you want all the rest you can get. If this gives you a chance to get Derrick Henry back closer to 100% for the divisional round, you take all the rest you can get. If this means Julio Jones and A.J. Brown can be maybe 100% together for the first time all season, you take all the rest you can get. If it means that offensive line that started and played every snap together to the end of the game for the first time all season long, finally in Week 18, is rested and ready to do that 2 or 3 more times in the playoffs, you take all the rest you can get. You get the defense set and ready to go, all the rest you can get. Having that bye is huge. Not to mention, you only have to win 2 games to get to the Super Bowl. You've cut out one of the wins that you need. Everybody else is battling this weekend in the AFC. The Titans will be sitting at home, getting ready to win at home in divisional weekend and then host the AFC Championship game. They have set themselves up. It's not a guarantee. Nothing is guaranteed in this league. We know that all too well. But the Titans have put themselves in a position to get back to the Super Bowl for just the second time ever. And that has to have you excited about where this team is right now. Our phone lines are open, 737-7767, the number. We would love to hear from you tonight and get you in on part of our show and in part of the conversation. We begin tonight with Scott. Scott, what's going on?
Hey, Steve. Good evening. How are you?
Good.
All right. Good, man. So I was kind of wondering if you have any insight on Chris Fulton and Elijah Molden. It looked like they both got hurt almost on back-to-back plays near the end of the fourth quarter. Fulton, they kind of said that it might have been a stinger. And with Elijah Molden, as I was watching, it almost looked like he got concussed, running right into that wide receiver, running back. I can't remember which. I was just wondering if you have any insight that you can share with the listeners, and I'll just go ahead and hang up, man. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott, for the call. I think the Molden injury was a chest injury, so I don't think it actually was a concussion, which obviously would be positive anytime you can avoid that. Amani Hooker also got hurt. Hooker came back into the game. The other two, you certainly have to worry about it, but to this point, we haven't heard anything, and if it's generally significant, you'd have a pretty good idea by the end of the day Tuesday what's going on. Now, they'll be back tomorrow. They don't have to give you an injury report since they're not playing. So we may not get a ton of information yet, but you got to feel pretty good that you don't have a lot of information right now on those guys. I think Molden for sure will be back and ready to go. We'll see exactly what happened with Fulton. Again, I don't think there's anything too severe because we haven't heard much yet. But all the nicks on Sunday basically came in the secondary. You obviously can't afford to lose all those guys, but hopefully they can all work themselves back. Other than that, the Titans are about as healthy as they've been at any point in the season. And knock on wood or whatever this desk is made of up here, but you go through this season with as many injuries and as many guys out and as many games lost as the Titans had, and then all of a sudden you get to the most important time of the season and you might be as healthy as you've been, getting Derrick Henry back, getting Julio Jones as healthy as we've seen. I mean, That's good fortune. I don't know if you can say anything else about the Titans' season has been good fortune when it comes to health, but that would be good fortune if the health is turning in the right direction finally now as we move into 2022 and the NFL playoffs. Back to the phone, say hello to Gordon. Gordon, good evening.
Hey, Steve. First of all, I want to congratulate the Titans on a phenomenal season, considering all the injuries and COVID that they had to battle, and Mike Vrabel for keeping them together, and for them to get hot at this time of year is great. I'm excited. And there's something about yesterday's game that concerned me, and it was that the team went to sleep in the third quarter. They played a 4-12 team, and they got away with it. But there aren't going to be any more easy teams from this point on, and they can't go to sleep. They have to play, 60 minutes of football, and they're going to have Derek back, and hopefully Julio and A.J. Brown will be healthy, and that's a awesome threesome. But they also have an awesome defense, and the defense went to sleep as well as the offense in the third quarter, and that just can't happen from this point on. So that's my comment. The question I have, and I hate to even think the thought, but right now, who is Ryan Tannehill's backup? They released Logan Ryan. If he has to sit out for a few plays, who is his backup? So thanks for taking the question.
Logan Woodside's still there, so.
I said Logan Ryan. Yeah, Logan Woodside. Oh, I thought he was gone.
No, he's still there. And he would be the guy that they would go to in any situation at this point. Now, do you feel very comfortable with that in the playoffs, considering he's had like 12 snaps in his career basically here? That I think is a huge excuse me. Sorry. I think that's a huge concern for the Titans, is needing to back up Tannehill if you need that in these playoffs. But we'll see. Gordon, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. I'm going to get some water. We'll take a break. I'll finish with Gordon's other comment because I thought it was a very good point. When we come back, I want to talk about that. When we come back after this, after I catch my breath. SportsLine continues after this.